So we're all creatives somehow, in some way here. You don't even have to be in fashion. We all packed our hair a different way. We all wore different types of hair. Every day we're creating for the most part. But some of us just do it for life, and we do it for business. And the thing about being a creative is that there's a lot of passion. And however, when you enter the business of it, not making money out of your passion can be really discouraging. Because at the end of the day, if this is what you want to do for a living, and you're not making money from it, and you're not in an environment where, when you say you're a fashion designer, you're particularly taking that seriously, if your name is not big enough yet. And I want people to not be discouraged, and not feel like, when am I going to get this really big brand? Because there's no big company that didn't start really tiny. You're going to look at Zenny Bank, you're going to look at Globe, it all started from somebody that was just born, just like the rest of us. The big thing with starting things is not being afraid to cry, not being afraid to fail. Because a lot of the reasons why we don't do things is the fear of failure. Just like, let me just go and just intern in the bank, I don't even want to do this. The best way to know if you're good at something or you're bad at it is even doing it in the first place. So you cannot assume that, I would most likely fail because this other person and where they are is just so far away. It's absolutely a big lie. So these days I see people talk about my brand, Andrea Iyamah, and it's a bit surreal because I'm not going to tell you about any businessman. Ronke said, how many of you have a business, have a businessman or don't have a businessman? I was actually going to raise up my hand. I didn't have a businessman when I started AI. For the most part, I didn't even think of the business of it. And I'm not saying that that's a good thing. For the most part, my experience has been my own brand. So it's possible to not have this perfect business plan, this perfect idea, this idea of funding and all these things, and it's still possible to still be sort of a success. There will be failures. Even the people that have the most fantastic business plans will fail, can fail, rather can fail. You can have access to the biggest funding and a lack of experience will shut it down. People are just really scared to start things. Just really scared of knowing the answer themselves. I find that people come for these talks and you go for networking and you do all these things and you're trying to find the answers from other people, which is fantastic. But no one will teach you as good as your own experience. That's honestly what I think. So as you go for these things, don't go for it and just take notes. Make sure that the next week, what are you going to do in connection to the notes you've taken? Are you going to, figure out, have I trademarked my logo yet? Are you actually going to do it, or are you just taking notes and then you're fueling it and you keep asking yourself, well, I haven't started yet. When am I going to start? I don't know why I'm not starting. The point is, doing it is like, when Nike says just do it, that's like one of my favorite words. What's just do it? So like it's favorite. So I'm learning to. The Nike's just do it is one of those really, I think it's one of the best slogans to me. It just applies to everything possible. So in essence, that's just a bit of how I started. My point is just start. If you feel it's not a big deal, you're going to do something else, or you do it a little differently. But the worst thing to not start is not start. Really, that's for the most part. So back to the business of it. You need to ask yourself, are you making money? The guy had asked before, he said, it feels like, what do you do when nothing is just working out? Like, your tailors are messing around. It just seems like nothing is that successful. You need to ask yourself a couple of questions when you ask you, am I making money? So I'm creative, but I'm also a very business-minded person. And it's very important to combine the two. Creatives tend to get lost in creativity. And you find a lot of brands that you just don't hear of them anymore. Not because they lost creativity, but whether we like it or not, you need the juice to keep your creativity out there, whether we like to admit it or not. And not a lot of us are business people, and that's fine. My first manager was my classmate. She didn't know actually anything about fashion, but I knew that she had a thing for numbers. Like she said, networking, ask someone around you. You don't have to be best friends. If someone is good at something else, don't be afraid to show your numbers. Don't be afraid to let the person know you're not making any money. And I'm strong at sketching, I'm strong at sourcing fabric, but you're going to help me do this. and the person falls on the side, the next person is there. Especially when you're young. The thing about the young mind is there's lots of juice and there's lots of energy, and there are people around that really just want to be part of teams. AI is star power right now. I don't think there's anybody older than probably 32. I think that's the oldest staff member I have. And it's not something that I do intentionally, but I tend to gravitate towards young people. There's just so much energy. When I heard that youths are lazy thing, I was so mad, because it's just one thing to have that energy and you put it into something. If it's not fashion, if it's a bakery, if it's whatever you can do while you're young, use your youth best ability that you can, is what I advise you. So, the first thing about making money is know your market. If you're designing things that are a little avant-garde for the market that is seeing you, and if money is something that you want to make, you probably want to re-strategize what you're doing. So are you designing clothing and styles that speak to the markets that you are accessing? Because one thing we had done with AI, so we knew that color and bright colors and slightly sexier cuts and everything is what works for our swimwear. So we made a mistake one year, and I'm going to use very personal stories. I'm a very open book, everybody knows me. So we had SS, one of our most popular swimsuit collections. I think it was the Egyptian one. It was extremely sexy. There was high cut, there was cut out, there was a bit more cleavage, all of that. It did fantastically well sales-wise. And then we told ourselves the next season, I think the next 2 seasons, that we wanted to change the market a little bit. Let's enter another market. It really wasn't something that was necessary. But we did it anyways. And we covered up more. We said we're going to do longer sleeves, not that many cutouts, etc. We bumped up the prices, bumped up the quality of production, etc. It seemed like, we still have a few cutouts. So if the collection was 10 pieces, and before we would do 9 out of 10 being really sexy, we cut it down to like 3 out of 10 being really sexy, because we wanted to reach, more women. But what we should have done, instead of cutting down your sexy to 3 and making your modest to 7, was make the styles 15. Keep your sexy as a bigger number and add more. The mistake that we made was we switched out the whole thing and didn't add more styles.